This is From Hero to Zero, a show about the misconception of the demise of the music industry. We talk to heroes to make sense of the alleged zero, the music business. Hi Todd, how are you?
Hey Sebastian, I'm good, thanks mate. Really good.
Very good. Thank you for your time talking to us about Phil Campbell and the Bastard Sons and yourself. So Todd, you're the guitar player in the band, a band that has been around for about 4 years, plus minus, founded basically on your birthday, I just learned.
That's correct, yeah.
Very fun. And it started as a cover band basically, and now you released your
debut EP.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With it's a 5-track EP with your original songs.
Yep.
So, how hard is it to start a band from scratch nowadays, 2016?
Okay.
How
hard? I would say to start. I'd say it's easier now to do it. You may not necessarily get as far as a lot of bands, but I think digital technology, the internet. It's a lot easier to get your music out there straight away. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people, like I run a recording studio, but a lot of people can do it in their bedrooms now. Do you know what I mean? So you don't have to have all that money and all that and go into a big expensive studio. You can make a good sounding product from your bedroom basically, and have it on your Facebook page and use all the social media, and you can be out there pretty quickly. Do you know what I mean? As well as years ago, you didn't have obviously mobile phones and whatever, and I think it was, so I know people complain that the industry is struggling, but I think it's, in ways it's become a lot easier, I would say, for modern musicians.
I understand, and plus nowadays you have new options. Often we hear from our guests in our show that they struggle with funding a record. Nowadays you have platforms like Kickstarter or Pledge Music. What is your take on that? There are some critical voices out there.
I think if you're actually genuinely giving the fans something unique, it's great, I think. But I think some are like, oh, we'll come around your house and have dinner with you and pay us £500, and I think you are taking advantage of your fans. But I think there are ways to make it unique where you can purchase something you couldn't buy from a record store. Do you know what I mean? Like, signed things and like certain packages. I think if you use it in that way, it's a good way to connect with your fans. But I think it does get abused by bands, I think. So I think it's, but if you do it the right way, I don't see a problem with it. It's a good way to, to cut out middlemen and all this, and the money can go straight to the band, and I think the percentage goes to charity as well with those companies. So yeah, I think there's no problem with it really.
You just mentioned you can spread the music through social media nowadays, which we didn't have 15 years ago. Basically it started with MySpace.
Yeah, totally, yeah. I think I still got a MySpace page somewhere.
Really?
Probably, isn't there? Somewhere.
I'm sure.
I don't know what my top 10 is anymore or whatever.
Sure. Interesting. How, first of all, do you use social media like Facebook and so forth for the band itself? Do you manage it?
We do, yeah. We, I think UDR, they offered us some media training, but I think we felt we were okay. We were already okay. But I think the one thing we've learned is with all your different social medias, don't put up a photo on your Facebook and put the same one on your Twitter, same one on your Instagram. We found use Instagram maybe for your behind the scenes photos, and then Facebook for maybe your main news, and then my dad does the Twitter really. We don't have a Bastard Sons Twitter, he just does his own thing. So you're not following the same thing 3 times, do you know what I mean? So I think that's the one thing we did learn about social media is make each one have different content from one another. So that's my lesson for social media anyway. But,
interesting. Maybe for those who don't know, UDR, that's your record label?
Yeah, it's they were Motorhead's record label, obviously. So we're on Motorhead Music, which is I suppose they couldn't put us on UDR and not put us on Motorhead Music. It's the same thing. So yeah, they're the guys that have put out this record for us at the moment.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And they offer you actually media, or offered media training?
They offered, because so we only had a short sort of Skype conversation, but they did. That was the one thing I did gain from it, and actually. to use, if you know, when you do promoted posts on Facebook, they kind of showed us how to use the insights so you can see who your fans are and things and what age groups and things, because they showed us Motorheads, and their biggest demographic is like 18 to 25-year-olds.
So young kids,
yeah, it's
basically.
like 18 to 25-year-olds, and then it drops down, which is like you would never think, would you? So it's interesting to check those things so you know who your fan base are.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So basically, Facebook Insights, that's the analytics tool where you can analyze your target audience.
Yeah, and then when you promote posts, you can choose, you know, male, female, what age group, and what their interests are, and things like that. Yeah.
Very interesting. So who manages the Facebook account? Is it someone in the band?
We all do. Yeah.
So if I would post something and
someone replies, it's us. Yeah. Only Phil doesn't really do Facebook so much. So he does his Twitter. And he uses his Twitter quite a lot, sort of thing. But yeah, we do the Facebook and the Instagram. So yeah, we're quite direct. You know, it's nice to get feedback from the fans and see how they feel about things. They'll soon tell us if they don't like a piece of merch or if they don't like this or that. So it's good to pay attention, I think.
Wonderful. Thank you for saying that. It's great. I mean, me as a fan, if I tweet to someone and then one of my heroes replies, or any band that I like even, then I feel more connected. Do you feel like that as well?
I think the other side? Sometimes if you can tell when it's not the actual person, do you know what I mean? You can tell when it's like someone in the office sort of thing, which I guess some people are so busy they need to do that, but yeah, I think it's nice to do it ourselves. Although sometimes you get a bit addicted on your phone, just like your girlfriend's like, get off your phone. But you know, it happens to all of us.
Sure.
Yeah.
Interesting. One thing that came up to me was you played covers for quite 3 years basically.
Yeah.
And then now you came up with your original music.
Yeah.
How hard is it to shake off the cover band image?
It's a tough one because we did sort of a party for my birthday, so we just played, you know, wherever we wanted to play really. And then as we went out, we did a few shows and festivals, so we thought, we'll do some Motorhead songs and then we'll do a few others. So we're still doing like Motorhead songs because when we play, you know, like 90% of the audience are wearing Motorhead t-shirts. I think, you know, Phil would feel bad if they didn't go away hearing some of those songs he's written over the years, sort of thing. So it's just a transition now. I think we'll always play Motorhead songs. I think there's like, if you look at like the Black Star Riders, do you know that band? And they Thin Lizzy, and they transition to the Black Star Riders.
Yes,
and they've got all new stuff, but they still play the Thin Lizzy songs. And I think so we'll continue to write our own material, but I think we'll still throw in like Motorhead songs and, you know, covers here and there, just to sort of keep it the way like we used to do things. I just think it's I think as time goes on, there's going to be less and less of these big bands around, and maybe there's going to be more bands like us, the sort of like a heritage act that sort of, you know, play older music that, you know, I think it'll be more sort of offshoots of different bands, I think, in the next few years, I'd imagine anyway, as bands end, but there's still going to be members that want to go out and play their music. Do you know what I mean? So maybe they'll do it under different names. So yeah, that's what we're doing now. We haven't put a lot of thought into it. Like we played with each other, so we started writing songs. So that's
interesting.
Yeah.
So you just said you didn't put lots of thought in it.
Yeah.
However, do you think that basically building the band upon a certain legacy which Phil brings with him?
Yeah, of course.
That is important.
Yeah, I think so. I think basically. Phil's manager was like, he said, I'll be honest with you, Phil, like the All-Star, the band are cool or whatever, but he said that the All-Star name, because Neil's surname is Neil Starr, he's not actually one of our brothers, so it was just a joke name. So, but he said, people are expecting an All-Star band to come along and play, like, and then obviously none of us are known musicians apart from Phil, so he said the name, you know, we need a more of a name, and like, I think now we've given ourselves a name, we've even given ourselves a direction where to go in with the music, sort of thing. So I think this CD is a little more diverse. I think we think we recorded the CD before we changed the name, actually, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we did. So the name came after. So I think we're slowly getting to that point where we're finding the identity of the band now. Do you know what I mean? I guess because I guess some bands, they take a few years before they even reach a certain level and they go through name changes. But we've done it more, and people have seen it because of Phil's name attached to it. It's out there and there straight away, like All Star Band. Instead of, every band has like an embarrassing first band name and different members, and Exactly. But we've obviously gone through it a bit more, sort of not in the spotlight because we're not that sort of band, but. You can find information about us if you want to. So
exactly.
I think that's kind of made it a little bit different.
Exactly. And you already, before releasing your first EP, you already played, I think, Bloodstock and like bigger concert festivals. Yeah,
we did Wacken. We did like the pre-day we had. Like that's when we changed the name actually. So we were billed as the All Star Band, and then we dropped the backdrop, Bastard Sons, and everything. So that's where we announced the name change at that festival. So. Yeah, exactly. It's been sort of, it's instead of playing clubs, sometimes we've gone straight to bigger shows, but it's going okay so far.
Jump into the cold water.
Perfect.
What I would like to touch upon is you mentioned you run your own studio.
Yeah.
Your music studio.
Yeah.
Again, how hard is it nowadays to actually run a successful recording studio now that everyone, as you mentioned yourself, can record their albums in their bedrooms?
I'm finding it harder personally. I've done it for about 10 years now. I used to be in my parents' garage for 4 or 5 years. I used to drive my mother crazy and things. So, I've moved to like a bigger place, and I've done that for years, really recording local bands. But to be honest, I have noticed a trend of people doing it at home, but then I think like people still want to go to a studio a lot of the time. They still want to use a drum room and things, and I think you still can hear the difference when it's definitely more organic when you're putting mics up to amps and micing up drum kits compared to just doing it all inside the computer. So I think even though it's more difficult, I think the studio it's got a few more years left in it yet, I think, recording bands and things,
I just wanted to mention that. Do you think that although we can do so many things digitally, that you still need the expertise of a recording engineer?
I hope so.
Well, what a question. True.
No.
Sure, but you also mentioned that you hear the quality.
Yeah.
Do you think it's obvious also to the consumers?
I hope so, I think like obviously when digital first came in, Pro Tools, I think things went straight there to like everything being on hard drive and whatever. But I think now is in a really good place where you use the best of both worlds. I mean, I think a lot of people are going back to using analog desks for that sort of sound, but then still you've got the computer for your editing and things. And I think we're at a good place now where we're using the best of both technologies and getting the best out of both. And I think a lot of modern recordings do sound really good nowadays. Do you know what I mean? I think there was a period where everything sounded a bit digital, but I think we're going back to a place where things are sounding better to my ears anyway. So,
sure. So you mentioned analog technique, like tape machines, studio, and so forth. Do you record still with that?
We're on Pro Tools in our studio, but like I like to run things back out into the desk and back into Pro Tools. Do you know what I mean? Just to get a bit of the desk sound and things like that. Actually, I didn't mix this, so Motorhead's producer mixed the CD, Cameron Webb, so it was nice to produce it all and then just send the files off for the file. It's a bit hard, when it's your own band, it's a bit hard, you can over-analyze everything, so it was nice to let go at the end and have someone mix the tracks, and he did a great job actually, so I was really pleased with that.
Very good, it sounds great, and I think that's a good point. If it's your own stuff, then it can get too critical.
I'd probably still be mixing it now if I was doing it, probably wouldn't be out yet.
Sure.
So,
But you recorded everything in your studio?
Yeah, we did it all, it was great.
Oh, interesting. Maybe let's talk about, since you just released a new EP with your original music, about sales. Sales nowadays are not what they used to be.
Not at all, no. I don't actually know the figures, but sorry, carry on with your question.
No, I thought maybe you already have a good input.
No.
my question would be, does it bother you as a musician to basically live in the digital age where sales don't count as much as they used to?
I've never lived in an age where I've ever sold millions of CDs, so I don't know. With this band, I think it's a common misconception that all the Motorhead fans will straight away buy this, but obviously we've got to earn our stripes and start from the beginning. That's how I see it. And like we talked about earlier, sales obviously are less now, but then at the same time, more people have listened on Spotify and all these platforms and checked your band out. So you've got to decide: would you rather more people have heard your songs or more people have bought your record? Which way do you want it? I think I think if you are a true artist, you would choose the music getting out there over money in your pocket. Do you know what I mean? I think that's if you're really in it for the right reasons, that's what you want long term.
So you would support basically, I think you have produced 2 videos of the EP for your YouTube channel.
That's right,
where I can go onto there and listen to them all day long without having to buy it.
Yeah, exactly. But then you might come to the show, whereas you would never have come to the show, and you'd buy a T-shirt, or do you know what I mean? So it's all. That's why I think more bands are touring nowadays, because that's where they make their money, is on the road, because people find out there's a lot more. I think 20 years ago you had your big, like a festival would be a one-day festival, but there's so many smaller bands earning a living, doing well, and obviously there's a lot more variety for everyone. So I think we're in a good place, I would say.
Last question, very bluntly put, do you think the music business is in an actual demise, or do you think we have so many possibilities nowadays that we're in a better place than before?
Just like what I said, instead of just having all these mega big bands and not so many, there's just a range for everyone now, and I think there's all different musics being sort of blended together and different sounds coming out, and more kids again hold the technology at a young age and doing things there. I just think it's probably a more creative time than there has been in a long time. So artistically, you can't have a problem with that, can you? I think maybe there's less money in everyone's pockets because it's getting spread thinner amongst all these artists that are emerging, but you've just got to, if you don't want to be a part of it, you can go get a job in Tesco's, can't you? Sure, I mean, so yeah, that's the way I look at it, basically.
Beautifully said. Yeah. Well, Todd, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Cool, I hope you got some interesting information out of me.
And thank you very much for a great EP, which I really love. You guys should check it out.
Cool.
Thanks.
There you go.